We were chilling the other day and saw this conversation from a Discord server we're in. So we came up with a plan to help players that are still struggling to reach Legendary, and today we will teach you how to dominate Hardpoint and search and destroy in Ranked. We will use Summit for the most part as an example for this video, and the topics that I'll be covering for Hardpoint are how to manipulate spawns, utilize power precisions, and how to break an enemy hill. For SND, we'll divide it into many parts: the attacker side and the defender side, which rush routes you can take, how to push a bomb site properly, how to defend a bomb site, and how to play post-plant. Feel free to skip the parts that you're already familiar with and let us know in the comments below on what I missed and what we should cover next. This is gonna be a long but fun watch, so grab your snacks and drinks and let's get right into it. Have you ever played a Hardpoint ranked match and noticed that you keep on respawning on the farthest side of the map and you just end up dying after running a mile just to get to the hill? Then good news for you, manipulating spawns is one way to solve it. If you know when and how to manipulate spawns, this will give your team a much better chance of winning the game, since positioning plays a huge role when it comes to gunfights. Having a better precision than the enemy team can give them a harder time to pick you off and break your defenses. You'll want to set a spawn point near the hill or for the next one by rotating around the map during or before a hardpoint contest. Don't push the hill when there's at least 15 seconds remaining, and run for the next hardpoint so you can have your teammates spawn near you who died at the last hill. You can run or walk whenever you're rotating early, just be sure to pre-aim every corner and be ready for enemies who have the same idea. Try to stay hidden and not make any noise while on the move, and stay away from high traffic areas like what I did in this crash ranked. There's 15 seconds left on the hill, so I decided to rotate from P2 to the next point so I can get my teammates to spawn in P5 after they finish pushing P4. I made sure I wasn't making any noise near the next hill and saw a teammate get killed by an enemy. I managed to trade my teammate and took a quick look at the back for info and saw my teammates finally spawning at Long B and went inside the next hill just in time. I killed another player following me and used my hive to set up for the next point. Just be aware of your surroundings when rotating and try to be sneaky as you can, because you'll likely catch enemies off guard like what happened to me earlier. ARs and LMGs are usually the best type of weapons for this job, like the Kilo 141, LK24, and Holger 26. You can equip the lightweight as your red perk to help you reach point A to point B faster, Ghost for the green perk to help you stay hidden from the UAVs, and use Dead Silence to minimize audio cues that you make. Hold on, because rotating to secure a spawn point is just the beginning. You also have to know how to utilize power precisions to keep enemies from retaking a hill or spawn point. To get the full potential of holding key points around the map in order to make it more effective, you need to have a good understanding of how spawns work and always observe your teammate's location. Take note that power precisions or money hill applies to both teams, and it's a battle of which team gets there first. In Summit map, for example, if the game has just started, we suggest to always take second floor for a better view over P1 and P2, as 2F provides more space and angles for you and your team to play with. If you fail to secure 2F, you can take tables as an alternative to help you hold P1, including the 2F entrance, mid entrance, and cages. Summit spawns can be a bit tricky as enemies might spawn beside or behind you if they manage to get closer to your spawn point, so go back a little bit and hold the very end of the map if you can, like red and blue spawn, so you can cover more ground and prevent enemies from entering your team's space. Just remember to bring a trophy if you don't want throwables to start raining on you. An enemy team that has full control of the hardpoint and spawns, and teammates spawning far away from the hill, is the perfect combo for a loss. But don't worry, after playing this game for years and by doing enough research, we eventually found a couple of ways to break an enemy hill so you don't have to. And the first step you can do to break an enemy hill is to not push alone. Hardpoint is a fast-paced and strategic game mode that requires teamwork and communication, so try to play as a team and wait for teammates to push with you. Pushing alone is pointless because no matter how many players you kill inside the hill, the chances are high for you to get traded quickly by the enemy team. Never push carelessly alone and try to tag along with your teammates and push together in groups of 2 or 3. But if you only play solo ranked, you're bound to get randoms who will push without a plan. You can take advantage of this by going for a pinch and attack from different directions, so the enemy team will have a lot of angles to worry about and not just one. This is where utilities come into play to make your life a lot easier. Frag grenades, thermites, and molotovs are good lethal equipment for flushing out enemies from cover. Smoke grenades are the best choice to counter an enemy that is holding a lane to force them to reposition. Use trophy systems to counter utilities that are being thrown at entrances to keep you safe from grenades, flashes, and more. Now that you finally mastered Hardpoint Summit, it's time for you to master everyone's favorite, Search and Destroy. There are 4 ways to enter both A and B site: Long A, Mid, Second Floor, and Catwalk. Let's talk about A site first. A site is the hardest place to attack in Summit because there are only 2 ways to get in: Long A and Mid. The reason why it is tough for players to push A site is because both entrances are choke points, which make it hard to get through. Attackers are exposed at long A since it doesn't have much cover to provide, mid only has a single door frame to enter, and you can get shot from multiple directions, especially if there's no second floor control. If you're pushing long A, we suggest you to stick onto the right side of the path, as it can provide a bit more cover than running out in the open. If you're pushing from mid to A site, you can take cover at tables first and wait for enemies that might push for mid control for a potential kill, then continue to A site if you think it is safe to go. Up next is B site. B site has 3 entry points: the middle entrance, second floor, and catwalk. Second floor is a key position in the map. Not only does it give you a wide range of angles to play with against B-side defenders, it also gives you more moves to play, making it harder for your enemies to predict your team. I personally like to push mid-entrance and catwalk so I can just flank enemies and create more space for my team to play and set up for a post plant. And of course, pushing a bomb site isn't that simple. You also have to clear angles first to make sure that a site is clear for your team to set up for a post plant. A proper way to peek at an angle is to not expose yourself entirely but to slice it like a pie. Let me explain. You don't want to peek an angle like this because you will completely expose yourself and you can get shot from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 angles. What you want to do here is to slowly check every single angle where an enemy might be holding. Alright, now we've planted the bomb. The first thing we need to do is to find a good position. Positioning is very important during the post-plant phase because the team that has better positioning will have a huge advantage when it comes to controlling angles, taking side control, which gives a higher chance to win the round. Be in a spot where you can hide and protect yourself while keeping an eye on the direction where the defenders might show up. Plant the bomb in a good location because it can have a big impact to where you are positioned. Because planting in a well-defended spot will allow you and your team to easily peek an enemy that tries to defuse the bomb. So try doing this. Also, don't be afraid to rotate to a different spot if you're in a bad position. Watch and play time, as you want your enemies to have a hard time retaking site. Keep track of how much time is left on the bomb so you know how much time you have left to work with, because this will help you decide how aggressive or passive you have to be in the last few seconds of the round. Post-plant is also a battle of utilities. Smoke entry points to block off enemy sight, stun, flash, or nade to flush enemies off and delay them. So use your remaining utilities wisely. Post-plant phase is the last stage of the round. It can be quite tense at times, but it is important to remember to stay patient, take your time, and make sure you are in a safe place before you take any action. That's pretty much it for the attacker side, so let's talk about the defender side. I used to think that the defending side is easier than attacking because we only have to stay at one place and wait for the enemy team to camp at us. But as time went on, I realized that there's actually a lot of factors that I need to consider, such as positioning, map control, utility usage, and communication with the team in order to win. And we will show you how to position yourself properly and what angles you can watch. Let's start with A site. When defending A site, it's important to have a clear view of the path that the attackers might take, like long A and mid, without completely exposing yourself. Choosing the cable car and the mid door frame is okay, but you have to keep in mind that the attackers will probably expect you to be in these spots since it is the most common place for defenders to be in. We suggest you to play angles where enemies won't be able to expect you, like hiding behind this pillar on site, behind this rock near cable car, and inside the bomb site to play an off angle. You can also just prone at the stairs since most players only check this corner and the cable car area, and most likely they won't be able to see you because of their gun model blocking off a part of their screen. Next up, B site. B is a bit harder to defend compared to A site, not just because of B having 3 entry points, but because it's a matter of which team has more space and map control to play with. The best way to stop enemies from pushing B site is to take second floor. Securing second floor can help you cover more areas in the map and provide more vision at mid to easily spot enemies that are trying to push A site and mid entrance. We suggest you to bring a flashbang or stun grenade to flush off enemies that are trying to push second floor. But if the enemy team tries to stack second floor and you're forced to play deep on site, you can position yourself behind this box or near platform instead. This angle covers second floor stairs and catwalk, but again, it is a common defending spot and enemies will most likely pre-aim and throw their utilities there. You can also hold this spot at crossroad to have an angle against enemies that are pushing A side and the B side entrance, and quickly slide to cover just in case there are too many enemies to fight. Hold behind this box, corner, rock, or inside green to hold off enemies that try to push catwalk and second floor. Sometimes proning on a random spot can also help, as enemies usually pre-aim on a place where defenders usually hold. Prone where you won't get shots from multiple angles and have a place to take cover from just in case it doesn't go according to plan. You have 45 seconds to defuse once the bomb has been planted. That's why it's important to check the time and how many teammates and enemies are left so you can know how fast or slow you should play, like I mentioned earlier. One thing I usually do is to ask myself, if I was the enemy, what would I do? Thinking from the enemy's perspective or by putting yourself in their shoes can help you make more informed decisions by checking potential hiding spots, pre-aiming angles, and corners, and be prepared for potential surprises. Use your utilities if you have any left as you push, and make sure you use it wisely to get the most value out of it. And don't waste it by just throwing it away randomly. If you have a smoke grenade, don't pop it directly at yourself to keep yourself hidden. It's a common mistake that most players do that I see in ranked. Instead, throw it at a choke point or anywhere you can block off your enemy's vision and force them to push out of the smoke or pre-aim to a place where you think they might go. If you're carrying a stun or a flashbang grenade, use it to clear corners where the planners might potentially hide or hold the bomb site. You want to get info as much as possible by checking every single angle by slicing the pie if needed. Stay close, but not too close with your teammates if you can, and play for trades with your team by killing the enemy
who just killed your teammate.
Trading kills maintains number advantage by not letting your team fall behind in player count and opens opportunities for you and your team to create more space and have control in the bomb site. Summit is a small map, so for both SND and Hardpoint, it's important to pay attention to audio cues like gunshots, footsteps, which utilities are being used or thrown, and keep an eye on the screen, kill feed, and minimap to know where and how many enemies or teammates have been taken out. It would also be better if you can communicate with your team by typing in the team chat or by using the voice chat if possible so you can coordinate your attacks together. We know it sounds like a lot to worry about, but having an extra piece of information won't hurt. As a solo player, I think I can speak for everyone that it is very hard to play ranked nowadays because everyone would rather use friend mic with their party or not just use their mic at all. So to whoever's watching this video, talk to your team to win more games because trust me, communicating with your team toxic free makes everything easier. And who knows, you might meet new friends along the way. The best weapons to use in Summit, both SND and HP, will be the Switchblade X9, Fennec, KRM-262, and the CBR-4 if you like to play aggressively. The LK-24, Kilo 141, Holger, and Snipers for the passive players who want a more laid-back experience. Here are the builds for all the weapons that I mentioned in the video, and feel free to pause the video if you want to copy it. What's your favorite map in the game? Let us know down in the comments below and we might just make a guide for it. Do you know how to play aggressive in COD Mobile? Here's how you do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.